I just want to remind everyone that friend of the show, Jim Byron, has a new album. Single The Dream and Move the World, remastered. If you remember, Jim was our second guest. He was a real fun dude. Wish we could get him back in, but things have been so crazy because of the Backstreet Boys tour. We'll call it. We'll call it the Backstreet Boys tour.
Backstreet Boys tour. What a lovely name for a pandemic. Also, just because I'm furloughed from my job at the awesome Bond-ass shop, it does not mean that I still don't want to promote that awesome small business that I worked for. So right now, our other production company that we worked with, 𝕬𝖗𝖎𝖆 U.S, which kind of helps with our classes and also helps with our parties, which we are very well known for. Rubber Ball, for one thing. We are having our very first giveaway. So the giveaway items that 𝕬𝖗𝖎𝖆 U.S has available right now is Spanked Flogger, Heart Mouth Gag, and a sexy card with a secret message written inside for all you naughty kittens. And these are in-house cards. You can't get these cards anywhere else. You can't really get them through Spencer's or Hallmark. We will leave a link in the description below, which will have it to the Instagram page, which will give you all the information on how to win such items. But let's just get started.
Let's get started.
Oh man, oh man. So how are you?
I am good, given the craziness of the circumstances. We did get a chance to hang out with. Our Patreon supporter Michael this past week.
That is right. If you're a Patreon supporter and you're in the local area,
you can hang out with us.
Yeah, you guys can hang out with us. We would totally be open for that.
You can get some drinks with us, smoke some smoke, but we do pay attention to social distancing and what's going on and which way you're coughing and breathing.
Of course.
Of course.
But, when this pandemic is totally done with, we're going to try to go and move for more, group-led activities. Because we definitely want more engagement with our listeners. Since we still don't get a lot of comments. Please leave comments.
Yeah, there will be plenty of fan events coming up. As things slowly get back to normal, it's one of the things I read and heard on the news. I love when that happens. It's that if we really want to get back to normal, it might be as simple as just everyone wearing face masks.
Yes, can we please just everyone wear a face mask? A face mask would be nice.
It's not an attack on your personal liberties and your personal freedoms to be asked to wear a face mask, to voluntarily wear a face mask. Nothing but good can come from wearing a face mask in this situation.
Well, not only that, this is the thing that really irritates me, is that no one's really bringing up the fact that, we really need to, it needs more water. That we need to pay people to stay home. Our economy is being propped up by the additional $600 in unemployment, which is getting paid more than your average central worker. So it's just kind of we need to just basically do the Canadian method and just do $2,000 a month until a suitable vaccine is made, We need to pay people to stay home, essentially.
Yeah, there's a lot that needs to be done. It's more than ever, I believe in universal income.
Yeah, definitely.
I believe that Bernie had the right ideals, especially when it comes to these tech companies, these giant, horrible conglomerates.
We're built up on on government subsidies paid for by taxpayers.
Yeah, there's definitely that. That's definitely a thing that...
The headquarters.
That grinds my gears, And
this vaccine, the thing that pisses me off about the vaccine is, majority paid by America. And, same with, some of, the medical treatments that we've been trying to do. And it's, it's gonna cost us thousands of dollars.
That is It'll be cheaper and affordable if you have government insurance, government health care.
Exactly.
Which that puts us at the point where we need universal health care.
We definitely need universal health care. Just, you know, it's just one of those things where, like, you know, it's long overdue that they need to just sit down and be like, okay, we really gotta address the situation of the fact that we gotta...
Well, the thing is that
do it this way.
There are no other developed countries like us that don't have universal health care.
I know.
Who don't have universal income.
Dude, if I had universal health care, I'd go to the doctor every fucking month.
That's just it.
Just for any reason. Just cause like then I could just go and like make sure that I'm healthy instead of like thinking, okay, is this pain gonna last me a long time? Is there a way I could cope with it with marijuana? Like,
that's just it. It's like I was watching dry bar comedy on YouTube, love him, and the one dude who's a Canadian, is like he was talking like sometimes I used to just go to the hospital for fun. It's like his stomach's like I have a tummy ache, and he would just take his kid to the hospital. It's just like let's see where this goes. It's just like yeah. If I had universal income, it would cost me money. Because even now, with my fucking health insurance has lapsed, and I'm still doing therapy, and I'm getting bills.
That sucks, man.
And it's ridiculous how much these bills are for something that is a necessity. It's like PTSD is just a symptom of being black in America. It's like everyone is suffering from some form of PTSD these days, whether it's from the police, it's from just growing up black in America. It's like there's just so many fucking things that should be a necessity that aren't in this country.
Oh yeah, like definitely they really should expand mental health and make dental not like elective. They should definitely make dental as part of a healthcare regimen. It always pisses me off when a lot of corporations will be like, oh, dental is elective or whatever the fuck. And it's like, no, it's not.
No, it's not.
It's related to your heart health. There's like, if you don't take care of your teeth, you can get vegetation growing into your veins. I'm not joking. Like, a lot of people don't realize that if you don't take good care of your teeth, you can get really bad heart health.
Absolutely, because I knew this kid, and I'm going to put him on blast. I'm going to say his name, Daniel. He didn't brush his fucking teeth. I went to high school with him, and he didn't brush his teeth, and people would grill him all the fucking time about his grill. And he fucking I ended up hearing this years later that he had a heart attack at like 22 because his teeth was just so fucked up.
Yeah.
Nothing else with his health, just his fucked up ass teeth.
I do start a new job though. I did start a new one. I'm working back in corporate retail. I'm not happy about
corporate
it.
retail.
Just because of the nature of our show, I can't necessarily say the name. But it definitely, what's nice with this company is that they have really decent health insurance right off the gate if you're working full time. So it's not too bad, you know? It just, I hate it because I always have to go for like the really expensive option because I don't want to deal with premiums. I just want to deal with copays.
Yeah. And
I just always get so confused about health insurance in general. Like, can't it just be like, you know, like if they still want like something of a for-profit system. Like, let me tell you this one story. On Reddit, if you're familiar with the X chromosome?
Yeah.
Subreddit. So this guy posted saying about how he and his girlfriend had to come to the really hard decision to get an abortion, and they're in Canada. So they couldn't get an appointment at the government clinic, so they went to a private clinic. Yes, Canada still has private clinics, and they're cheaper than ours.
Of course.
Do you know how much an abortion was? $80. $80. My friend, to get a pill to get rid of her zygote, which was unfortunately from sexual assault, but for her to get that, luckily a charity was a woman through a charity was able to pick up the tab, but when she initially got the bill, it was $400 for a pill.
I mean, that's one of the issues with this country. This great country we live in that hasn't been great in like 3 decades.
Has it ever been great? Like, seriously, has it ever been great?
The space race. I think the space race was the last time this country was truly united, regardless of race, ethnicity, and creed. Religion.
Well, yeah, kind of, but at the same time, they also had a dig race with Russia and wasted a lot of money trying to dig a hole as far as they could in the Earth. And Russia beat us at that. Look it up. The dig race went along the same time as the space race. It's really weird. We'd like to waste money.
The dig race isn't as interesting as the space race.
I mean, yes, okay, we went to the moon. Ooh! But then it's just kind of like, okay, cool. Like, and then nothing else, really. I mean, I know we try to focus on going to Mars, but we don't really have the tech. But then it just seemed like everything kind of plateaued, like, technology-wise.
Well, no, the thing is that we started pulling funding from NASA and stopped exploring and going deeper. It's like...
I mean, it would be pretty cool if we could have something like a Star Trek thing. That'd be dope. But, man. But speaking of the past, they are starting to finally fucking remove the Confederate and slave owners' monuments.
Yes, and it's about fucking time.
I remember this was like such a big issue back in 2016.
Well, it feels like it's a big issue every 6 years or so, because I remember this being an issue in like 2006.
I remember that too, yeah.
That they were talking about, because this is when I first learned about the racist history of Calhoun.
Oh, God.
Because back when I was in high school, a group of my friends were like cutting class to go protest and give like, let's get rid of these Calhoun monuments. Let's change the name of Lake Calhoun.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm confused. I'm like, I just thought it was something native. But I learned something back then. It was like, okay, there's some racist history to this beautiful fucking lake.
Well, yeah, because the lake was originally called, I might butcher it, so I'm sorry.
It's what they changed the name back to.
Yeah, they changed it back, because Calhoun, like, he's a very racist man, who unfortunately helped found a portion of the Minneapolis city, which was the uptown area. And I believe he was part of the Confederate Army in some form, if I remember correctly.
I don't know. I don't know about all that, but I know he was a racist who killed lots of Native Americans.
He did do that, yes.
I know he was a racist who had slaves and killed lots of slaves for no fucking reason other than, I just want to kill something today. So,
he was a very... 𝕬𝖗𝖚, that's what it's called. I think I'm pronouncing it right. It's BDE?
MDESKA?
Yeah, it's BDE space MAKA space SKA. So 𝕬𝖚𝖚.
Yes, formerly Lake
Calhoun. It's not that hard to pronounce. It's just the first part. I'm kind of like.
Well, it'll get the signs will get vandalized and be Lake Bidet.
That just sounds bad, though. I don't want to. So if you're Native American...
No, I think that's a good name. Let's go down to Lake Bidet.
No. That's not... No! Come on. That lake is very beautiful. We shouldn't call it bidet.
Bidets are very beautiful.
Yeah, I know.
They clean your tushy.
I know. It doesn't matter. That's not... No, come on. If you're Native American and you know how to say the first part, or maybe I'm completely butchering the entire word, if you could leave a nice, helpful comment in, that'd be great, and then just kind of, like, spell how it's supposed to be pronounced, because I'm a bit rusty on my International Phonetic Alphabet, so, and unfortunately Wikipedia doesn't have a thing that says, like, pronunciation, just the phonetic alphabet version. But anyway, but no, it's about time. I'm really glad. And not only that, like, they did actually, they said that half of Oklahoma, I think, is, like, a reservation now. Did you hear about that?
No, I did not. But that's just it. It's like, there's two things that we need to remember. It takes about 2 generations for change to happen in a society.
So far, yes.
And we're about at that mark. It is 2020.
That is true. We are at that mark.
We're at that mark where, like, we're not even 2, we're like 3 generations into change of this progressive ideal, this progressive message of equality, of this false bill of goods that we've been sold about this country. We're actually finally at the point where we can make that happen.
Yeah.
We can make this false bill of goods something real.
Yeah, and not only that, it's because of the fact that the government showed us they can actually do this shit. Like, those recovery packages for all the... For the corporations and stuff, like trillions of dollars. Like, that's so much money. Like, you could easily cancel out student debt with that, with the amount that they did, you know? But they don't.
Well, yeah, the thing that really bothers me is that, I mean, it's one of Bernie's things. It's like, we're not taxing these corporations. These corporations are skating. They're robbing. They're not robbing. They're just not paying their fair due.
They're robbing. They're taking money.
I mean, yeah,
from our taxes subsidies for their stupid like headquarters and stuff. I mean, that's why I left. That's why I went with a small business. I hate corporate life.
Yeah, just for the recession to put you back into corporate life.
I know. You gotta drink the corporate Kool-Aid. You gotta make sure to have a fucking fake face on. And, like, take customers' shit. And it's like, ugh. You know what was nice about my job before? No returns. There's no returns at a sex shop. You know how awesome that is?
Oh, yes. That's... Yeah, I get it. I totally get it.
I mean, luckily I don't have to deal with the return counter. Like, I don't have to deal with customer service shit.
Yeah, no.
But it's
customers be able to return shit at will. That's how I go off one job.
I just hate it. Ugh. But yeah, and then, so yeah, now they're also... I'm surprised they're changing Mrs. Butterworth. I didn't think she took on...
It's a racist mammy character.
Oh, is she? Okay.
Yeah, Mrs. Butterworth is...
I mean, because I knew Aunt Jemima was.
Yes.
And then Uncle Ben, of course. And then the guy on the oatmeal box.
Cream of wheat.
Yes.
Yeah,
But I thought Miss Butterworth was more kind of like nondescript. Like, I didn't like see her as like anything,
well,
but I guess I didn't realize it.
Like, I remember commercials from the 80s and 90s where she was both played by a white woman and a black woman in various different commercials.
Oh my god, you're right.
So I never really thought Mrs. Butterworth was racist. I just thought they were like colorblind casting. I don't know.
I forgot about... Well, that's the thing. Like, the shape of her, like...
It's just a fat woman.
Yeah, she just looks like a fat woman.
It's just a fat woman to me.
And I don't know, like, maybe if you want to put fat phobia with it, but typically... I don't know.
But at the same time, I can see how people can see the bottles as a racist mammy characters, because the bottles are brown.
That is true. But, I mean, that's good to know.
But Cream of Wheat is, that mascot is Rustus.
Rustus?
Yeah, he was a real fucking chef. Like...
Oh, makes sense.
He was a real chef, and he just sold his likeness. And I never... Like, he was a chef in San Francisco. I don't really see a whole lot of racism in his character.
Oh yeah, no, I get it. Like, the guy, Chef Boyardee, is the same thing. Like, the guy was an Italian immigrant who basically used his likeness on the can as well.
Yeah. And,
like, that one, like, is told in a lot of, you know, Italian circles. Like, I grew up with that story.
It's like... I don't know. To me, it's like, I get some things need to change, but I'm at the point where it's like, what is too much? Like, what is too much?
There will be a line somewhere. We'll all figure out the line, but right now, like, you know, a lot of people don't realize that a lot of these statues, a lot of these iconic images...
I mean, they're monuments to losers.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
They were brought up in the 1960s as a way to...
1960s, 1970s, most of these Confederate statues went up.
As a backlash to the Civil Rights Movement. It was basically to tell the black people in the neighborhood, hey...
Stay in your place.
Stay in your place, we're still fucking racist. So, like, you know, to say that these were up since, like, the 1800s is bogus. So, I mean, I don't know, it's just one of those things where, like, I feel like it's about time, and I'm glad.
Yeah. It's...
I know some cities were like, look, we'll take it down, just don't destroy it. And they were like...
yeah, no, there was lots of cities who voluntarily stepped in
and took it down.
Helped citizens take these things down. They brought in construction equipment to take them down.
Yeah.
It's like, we're at the point where things are finally changing, it feels like.
Well, and the thing is, it's great to see all these societal things and these pulp culture things changing, but... I really, really want to start to see more, like, laws put in place.
Yes. I mean, there's some things that they sound good. Like, the police, this Friday, they're going to have to report any kinds of incidents, any kind of physical contact with people. Like, it's... Yeah. Because there's a lot of shit that doesn't get reported by police, like various assaults, various holds. Like, yeah. Honestly, historically, like, police have been pieces of shit.
They have.
Historically, the police were created to round up black people. Whether they were freed or runaway slaves, they were meant to be round up. They were meant to be contained.
Especially when, like, when they eventually stopped, like, when they had to stop eventually doing the slave trade. I think... And then they just basically, like, had just the slaves there. They weren't really bringing them in at some point, right?
No.
Or did they keep doing it till after the Civil War?
No, the Civil War, they stopped bringing slaves into America about 50 to 100 years before the Civil War.
Okay, that's what I thought, yeah. So then they stopped.
The slaves that they had here, they brutalized, they mated, they treated them like animals.
Yep.
But the police were created to capture runaway and even freed slaves in some states were rounded up and brought back.
Yeah.
There is a documented case of 20 freed black people from Minnesota being dragged back to the South.
Well, not only that, 12 years a slave, like, that's what the entire movie's about.
Yeah.
He was a free man up in the North. He gets rounded up and brought back to the South again. To be a slave.
Yes, and I love your parents, but that did kind of piss me off a little bit on the boat ride.
Yeah, so my parents and I were talking, and it got really irritating, because then my parents were like, well, it's based off of this European system, and they're like, no! We're talking about America, not Europe, okay? Like, yes, there are instances of some form of police in Rome and in Europe, before our
But American police in this country were created to capture black people, to round up black people, to control and subjugate black people.
And I know it's at times I think I need to really need to sit down with my parents eventually and just kind of like give them all these educational sources and then basically be like, look, educate yourselves. You know, like, I can't deal with the fact that you're not, you know, because, like, they say, like, we know this stuff, I studied it. I'm like, well, yeah, back then, like, a lot more information is out now, you know? Like, a lot of people, you know, we now have better access to and can get a lot of stuff written by black scholars that my parents necessarily may not have had access to at the U of M. You know, it was very much, you know, kind of keep to the white people shit. You know, whatever the white people wrote, that's what you learn from. And I think at times our parents have a hard time dealing with that.
You know, things have just... I mean, and I get it. It's hard for white people to to understand how they have personally benefited off of historical slavery, off of institutionalized slavery. It's like a big problem in this country is that a lot of white people, modern day white people, don't see how they benefited from the past. How this country was built on the backs, literally, of blacks, of Asians. Like, you have the Chinese who built the railroads.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, like, for me, and I still have, like, a lot to learn, of course, and my boyfriend has always been very helpful in that department. But at the same time, though, when you look to see your white privilege, it's kind of like, this is really fucked up. It's a really, really fucked up thing, you know, because I worry about you constantly. And not only that, like, I always, like, whenever I see, like, a cop car, like, I'm pulling up to a cop car, or I'm, like, driving by, or a cop pulls up, you know, when I'm driving and stuff, I do get worried that, like, you know, we're gonna get pulled over, and then, you know, we're gonna have to deal with an incident, and I'm gonna have to, like, figure out whether or not I have to, like, make sure you don't get shot in the process, you know? You know, it's a lot of calculated maneuvers when we're out in public.
Yeah. It is... I don't know, I'm sick of having to walk on eggshells around fucking police in public.
Yeah.
It does feel like I'm more at risk by getting killed by the police just for something as simple as
walking down the street.
I'm walking down the street.
Yeah.
Because that's just it. My brother himself has been beat up by the police in Brooklyn Park back in like '99.
Yeah.
For just being black in the suburbs, even though it's like 90% black people that live in this fucking complex.
And like, that's the thing, it's just, you know, for me, like, in high school, I couldn't put words to it, but then when I got into college and we started to, like, talk about white privilege, I mean, in my head, I'm thinking, well, okay, that makes sense then. You know, because I've gotten away with shit, which I knew I shouldn't have gotten away with. Like, you know, when you... It can get really scary when you see the advantage and you don't do anything about it.
Yes, I'm glad you decided not to stay asleep.
It actually makes it more hard not to, like, to stay asleep. Because then you're avidly being in denial. Do you know what helps? Fucking realizing shit. And then just trying to consciously move towards it, you know? I try my best to be an ally. I am not perfect. And I am also part of, you know, the LGBTQA community, so I do have a taste of what it's like to have to deal with asshole cops.
Trust me, at this point in time, we've all had to deal with asshole cops.
That's true.
It's like, hell, even my mom has had to deal with asshole cops, especially in her adult life, more than, like...
I didn't have to worry about it in my growing up. We knew the police...
You want to actually get on mic?
You want to get on
mic?
Okay, so I'm going to be introducing to you guys a awesome woman. This is...
Midget.
This
𝕬𝖗𝖎𝖆.
is Alex's mom.
I didn't really have to deal with the police when I was growing up. In my neighborhood, we knew the officers. The officers knew us. And like, they see a kid on the street and they was like kind of acting. They would tell them, you better go home for I have to go talk to Miss So-and-so. You know, Officer Long. Everybody knew Officer Long. Everybody knew Officer Long. And they knew if you did something, he would, or your ass was going to jail. But now...
Was it a whole white department that served in your neighborhood, or was it like mixed, or was it all?
The biggest, the area I lived in, it was like mostly black on one side of the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And so like I lived on 29th. No, I lived on West 30th. And when you go down to 29th, West 29th, there was like maybe 2 or 3 white families in that block. and then you cross 29th Street, and then start being more white and Mexicans. There was a few Mexicans, or maybe a couple of Mexicans on West 29th Street. Yeah, there was a few on West 29th, but as you went past 29th, it was mostly all Mexicans and white. Okay, so I don't really know too much about the other side of town.
Well, I mean, was the department then like, was it like, did it have black officers?
Oh, did they have? You know what?
Or was it mostly white officers?
It was mostly white officers. I think I was grown before I actually really saw a black officer.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was mostly all white officers. Like I say all white because I never saw a black officer. So it was a difference. Our neighborhood, it was like a real close knit neighborhood. Everybody knew everybody, and so like I said, they'd see you doing something. And neighbors, if they see you doing something, they could spank your butt, send you home, or man, let me tell you, the only time I skipped school. It was two of my girlfriends, and we went downtown. We were walking down the street, and as we was walking down the street, one of the girls' mother was walking toward us.
Oh.
Okay, so we meet up with the mom. She don't say nothing. She get her daughter by the arm, and turn her around, walk up the street. By the time we got home, our parents do, and I got my butt toward. So that's the only time I ever skipped school. So it's I don't know, but I'm glad to see this stuff is really seem like it's coming to a change. And I have people ask me, why do I think this time it really matters? You know, it's been all these other people who've been killed by the police, but has not been the reaction that we are seeing now. And I said, I feel that it's because people watched that man die before their very eyes.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw him
just how brutal it was. Like, it was definitely, like, a very brutal, very slow, disgusting act playing out.
And the look on his face, like, you know, and he still had people, I mean, people study telling him the man can't breathe, check him, do all this, nothing, you know, and he just continued like they wasn't saying nothing. So I think that really...
Yeah.
It's definitely seeing that brutality of that by the police, and it's also like we're at the point where it's enough. It's like we're 2 generations in. 3 of people are just sick of this shit. Who have been seeing this shit since Rodney King.
Yeah.
It's like who have been seeing this shit since I can't think of any names from the 80s, honestly.
Well, I mean, not only
this shit has been going on.
Well, not only that, you had the war on drugs.
Well,
and then you have the mass incarceration acts of the 90s. And then you have not only a rise in neo-Nazism and alt-right and very extreme conservatism, which, you know, I would even say just this rise of racism in general through the Bush administration.
Well, I mean, yeah, but a lot of that can be blamed on the internet existing.
Well, I mean,
because the internet is a constant blessing and curse. It has brought us together as a global community, but it's also brought the hate mongers together.
No,
it's brought all the racists together.
I blame social media for that. The internet.
Social media would not exist without the internet.
Exactly. So I can't necessarily blame the internet because the internet had forums before, and there wasn't really.
I mean, even back then, you can go back to the 90s. There was always like white supremacy forums. There was always hate forums. There was always Black people uniting on forums. There's always people in forums. There's always groups. Yes. Social media definitely exacerbated things.
An experience I had with the police here in Minnesota, I never had a problem like I had when I moved to Minnesota.
Oh, yeah?
I was stopped so many times on bullshit. I was stopped in front of my apartment one day and they said I was going 2 miles over the speed limit. And didn't give me no ticket. I just I just ran my license stuff. I ain't have nothing, and that was the excuse that I was going 2 miles over. This was in St. Louis Park,
of course.
But downtown Minneapolis, I was given a personal ride to the state building so they could get their down pay a check for their deposit.
Yeah.
So I was giving this lady a ride, and she had a little kid. Well, I'm not even thinking that I should have to have a car seat.
Yeah.
Because it was like in the 90s. And so when I just pulled up in the front of the place, police walked over to the car, said, "Where's the child's seat, car seat?" I was like, "I'm just giving her a ride," and I didn't realize I really had to have a car seat for the kid. So he asked for my license. I give him my license. He go inside, come back out. He says, "The computer says you don't have insurance." I said, "The computer told you a lie, because I have insurance." And so he said, "Give me your fucking keys." And I said, "My keys?" He said, he rushed in there and grabbed my hand, bent up back, and took my keys.
Oh my God.
Okay. He said, "Give me your fucking keys."
That's so rude.
And how threatening could you have been in a car? Is like, other than just that racist BS. Like,
I reported him. I filed a complaint against him. And I went to one little hearing, but when the second one came up, I was out of town because my sister had gotten murdered.
Oh.
And so I didn't follow up with it after I got back. So, but yeah. So, and I mean, like, I would get stopped so much. I've never been stopped so much. One evening, we had a girlfriend of mine. We was coming from a class in St. Paul.
Mm-hmm.
They pulled us over. Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing.
When you were working at the group home.
Oh my! Not the group home. The daycare in Golden Valley. Oh my God, that was okay. I worked. It was a daycare in the church, and I cooked there. And so one day I had ran out of something. So my supervisor said, "No, before this, let me back up. Okay, before they enlarged 100, right there at 36, just before you get to 36, it was an exit that you could take off to the frontage road."
Yes. Yep. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay. So I used to turn, but you couldn't make a right turn there. So I would go up and pull up behind Cubs and turn around and go back down the street. And
you would turn down the street and
so one day this big old truck pulls up, follows me from I went to Cubs. Okay, so when I turned, so this dude pulled up behind me and said, "Don't make a U-turn in front of, don't make a U-turn in front of my house again," or something. And I said, "I didn't make a U-turn." He said, "Yes, you did, because if you pull up and back out, that's not a U-turn.
Yeah.
That's not a U-turn." I said, "I didn't make a U-turn." He said, "Yes, you did. And if you do it again, you're gonna be sorry." And so I told my supervisor. So she said, "Barry, from now on, just go all the way up to 36. Just to eliminate the crap." So this one day I ran out of something that I needed in the kitchen, and so she said, "Well, Barry, just run up to Cubs and go get it." So I was like, "Okay." So I go up there, and so about halfway back to the place, I look up, I see a Robbinsdale police car behind me. I check my speed. Okay, I'm good, cool, So I go head on, and by the time I get to the church, at that block, it was another one coming down.
Oh.
And so I turned in the parking lot, and they both turned in the parking lot behind me. Luckily, my freaking supervisor was on the playground with one of the classrooms. So she see them messing. So she starts walking over to see why they're messing. When she walked over, they took off.
Yep.
They took off. So they was planning on doing something. I think this guy, if he wasn't a police himself, he had a relative. He knew because this is Robbinsdale. That's Golden Valley.
Yeah. No, Robin. Like, I mean, I live in Brooklyn Park, and Brooklyn Park has like probably one of the worst reputations.
Oh hell yes.
Yes.
And
They've been racist since the 80s.
Well, I came through there.
they've been racist way before that. You know, Brooklyn Park has a huge Mormon community, Latter-day Saints, so it's a lot of religious racism that's tied into that community. A lot of people tend to not really realize it, but at the same time, we also have a huge amount of Section 8 housing. We have one of the largest in the state, and we have a huge diverse areas, but yet it's...
Well, yeah, when we were out there, we were low income housing.
I mean, it's
that building we stayed in, everyone there was low income. Left.
Only because she was talking.
Like, out in BC and BP, that's where they herded us out to. Especially after they was tearing down the fucking projects.
That really wasn't low income. I mean, it was regular. They might have had some units in there, but I was paying $800-something a month there.
Mm. Well, I mean, I lived in Brooklyn Center at first.
Which is funny. You're paying $800 because my white friend Danny and his fucking overweight mom, they were on Section 8. They were paying like almost nothing.
Yeah, house too, wasn't it?
I lived in Brooklyn Center for a while.
Oh, in that complex.
You remember how our building went around and was connected by the laundry room? They were in that basement. They were in the basement unit and this other unit.
Mm.
But they were on Section 8.
Yeah, no, I mean, unfortunately, Brooklyn Center got...
But that building, the thing was that building, they don't care if you had what you call it, eviction thing.
Mm.
You know, because it's really, once you get a UD, it's really hard for you to rent.
Hmm.
And no matter what the reason you were evicted for, I was pissed because we weren't evicted because I didn't pay my freaking rent. We were evicted. Racist bullshit. We was evicted because we moved into this apartment. They had, so when I moved in, it was a pile of oatmeal in the cabinet with weevils in it.
Ew.
I swept that up and put it in a bag. And the drawer, one of the kitchen drawers is broke. The closet door in the hallway wouldn't kept coming off, and they wouldn't fix it. I went to court, and I won.
Mm.
Oh, it's two different ones. God damn, that's not the one where we. Yeah.
Well, there's the one where I was accused of setting a fire.
Right. I was gonna say that's not the same one. We got evicted. Yeah, each time we got evicted, it was not from not paying my rent.
There's always some BS excuse to get us out.
They said that was that the same one? That was the same one. That's what I'm talking about. They claimed that TJ had set a fire in the hallway. Well, wait, this is after. Wait a minute.
It was in the hallway.
Wait a minute. This is a month. Wait a minute. A month after I went to court and won. A month later.
Yeah.
They gave me an eviction notice, and they said that TJ had set a fire in the hallway when I come home from work. So
I love how you looked at me like that. Like, no, I was not setting a fire in the highway.
You was like 19.
I was setting a fire behind the dumpster.
I knew you would set a fire somehow, but I know it wouldn't be in the hallway. That's the thing. So I'm like, when she said that, I was like, I know it wouldn't be inside, but I know you probably set a fire.
I was setting a fire with the landlord's son.
Not the landlord, the caretaker.
Oh,
manager,
okay.
Property manager's son.
And TJ was 9 and his
son was like
13,
14.
And he took TJ back behind the dumpster and they was lighting the fire. When he heard his dad's truck pulling up, he ran.
Oh.
Left TJ out there. Instead of calling a fire department, they called the police. And And the police, they did so much bullshit. I should have tried to sue their asses for the bullshit they did. They came, the Ben was there, he let them in. They came in there, I had one of them handballs, stress balls, and it busted.
Oh.
And it was full of powder. It was a powder and it looked like chalky like powder, like they tried to say it was cocaine. They took the shit and tested it for cocaine. Okay.
Jesus Christ.
Yes.
That's like really trying to like grasp at straws.
And then the police went up the street to the school and told the school that TJ set the fire. Okay, so
didn't they have anything better to do? I mean, there's other crimes, right? Did they really have to take the time to go to a school and drag them into it? I mean,
just bullshit.
What the fuck?
Just bullshit. And what's the other time?
No, it's just like I mean, I've had run-ins with cops, but Jesus Christ, like I mean, they're not as bad as what you've had. I think the worst one. Well, I was always annoying to cops when they approached my high school classmates. Because you know we take the regular bus. We didn't have a school bus system. And it was, I'm not gonna lie, it was very white the first year. We did have kids of color, but it was very much whites were the majority. And the second year we got more kids of color coming. But I would always notice that the cops would come up and be like, "Let me see your ID. Let me see your ID," and then I'd be like, why are you talking to them? Why do you need their ID? They're high school students. They're not going to have a state ID. And then they're like, well, leave me alone. I'm like, well, do you need my ID? I'm with them here. And they're like, I'm like, well, and then I basically would say this, and then I'd say it again and again. They're minors. You can't talk to them. You can't ask for anything unless you have parental permission, essentially. So you should just leave them alone. You need to leave them alone. This isn't right. And I did talk to my school administrators about it. I don't know if they did anything about it, but I know the cops kind of avoided us because that I'd just always get in their business and be like, "We're underage. We're waiting for the bus to go home. Go away." So that was like my first foray into realizing as I got older, like how cops treated my classmates of color versus me.
Yeah. Now this happened when I was a teenager. It was about 3-4 black girls, and I think it was just this one white friend of ours, right? So we go in this restaurant, and they wouldn't serve us. So our white friend, she got mad. She took the ketchup and just started squirting it all over her.
Like, oh, you won't serve my black friends? Well, I'm gonna be more disruptive than they would ever be. And yeah, I've definitely had white girls call some shit because they felt I was being unfairly treated in the situation.
It's always fun to do that. I've done that. I've done that before a couple of times. I remember one time.
Lighter.
I got pulled over, and I was in my mom's Honda at the time, and we got pulled over because they saw my black partner at the time. Guy comes up and he's surprised that I'm driving, and he's like, "Are you safe?" Right in front of him, and I'm just like, "No!" He's in my front seat for, like, literally no reason. Like, he's in the car with me. If I did not trust him, if I was not safe with him, he wouldn't be in my vicinity whatsoever. And I looked at him and I'm like, you do realize it's 2015, right? Like, point blank.
Trust me, I've had that happen before, too. Because I was with Amanda. We weren't even dating. I was just shotgunning her car. Cops pulled us over. I thought it was because I was littering or something. And the cop first out of his mouth, "Are you safe?" And it's like, and she went off. She's like, "Of course I'm safe. Like, like he's my friend. He's a classmate. We were doing homework. Like,
Yeah.
And it's dumb because I've been in that situation, and it is so offensive. It is so infuriating. It is so dumb.
Yeah.
I tell you, another thing that really gets me. When you shop in the department store.
Oh, and they follow you. And security follows you. Oh yeah, I love it when they follow me. I don't touch shit. I go through the store. I have my hands behind my back or in my pocket, but I don't touch shit on the shelves or rack. I just let them keep following me.
Oh, did I tell you about one of my coworkers just got? Well, he got quit. They said he quit. He said he quit.
Oh, you talking about the one that was stealing shit while on the clock?
With the damn clients. Guess what it was?
What?
An energy drink. He said he came in the store with the energy drink, and he said he had a receipt, and he said he showed it to them. They took it and threw it on the floor.
Okay, see, that's not like some racist bullshit.
That is racist.
Yeah, because I mean the same thing happened to.
He didn't want to fight it, so he just quit.
All you know is that, like, I've always, the golden rule for myself is whenever, if I work for a store or a retail place that basically that makes me, like, follow black people more than white people or any other race, then I quit. Because I don't want to deal with that shit. Like, in Oregon, we had a lot of homeless people, and you could easily tell what they looked like, and a majority of them were white, so yeah, we would follow them. Mainly because of the fact they would try to steal, like, the DVDs and shit. As well as the CDs. Like, the easy shit. And so, I mean, granted, we wouldn't lose that much money off of them, but, it just would suck because that gets into our budget.
Right.
But, like, I haven't really run into, luckily, I haven't run into a manager that has been outwardly racist in that manner. And I even, like, got a person fired when I was machinist for saying the N-word. It was during Obama's second. During Obama's second election. It was like the night of that election, and we're all sitting there. I'm like really tired because I had to take time out of my schedule in the morning, so I didn't get to bed on time. I had to wait a long time, so I was like really tired. She comes in and she starts to, she looks really irate, and she's just like, if that N-word wins, it's just gonna fucking be the worst shit ever again. And I'm gonna be there to kill him and whatever, and all this type of, like, whatever shit. And, like, she said it really loud, too. And we did have people of color working. Like, yeah, it's in Cheska, but, through the temp agency, we had, like, a lot. I mean, they were immigrants, but we had people of color.
Oh, shit.
Oh.
So, I know it's that night.
Yeah. Sorry, we distracted
you.
Thank you for sitting in.
Anyway, she got fired, so it has a happy ending.
Yeah, that's yeah.
I don't think she knew it was me, but, like, that's the thing, it's just, like, I mean, maybe I should have said something to her, but I was just shocked. I was just shocked she even said it. Like, I think that was the first time I ever seen, besides in a play that I've been in, it's the first time I've ever seen a white person use that word in such a derogatory way.
Well, that's definitely not the first time.
I know not for you. I'm sorry. I'm just like, it just, what gets me is that neo-Nazis, white people who are racist and stuff like that, don't assume that other white people will be racist. I don't want to hear your bullshit, okay? Just putting it out there, okay? It makes it really irritating for us allies when we're trying to, like, move and progress the conversation and shit, and then people come up to me and then start talking in that manner. Like that happened to me sometimes when I was on the bus. I have, like, a friendly face, I guess, because sometimes people love to unload all this random shit on me, even when I was working retail.
That's funny.
They'd, like, give me their whole life story. And then somehow the conversation will turn to, well, I don't like Obama. And then that's how it always started. It would always start with Obama, and then somehow Obama would segue into racism.
I mean, welcome to America.
I mean,
the
yeah.
land of the free, the racist indeed. It's like, this has been a country with a history of hate. And we're finally at the point where it's like, I'm an older millennial. I'm fucking 30. So it's like, we're at the point where we've been being fed this message of equality and, you know, inclusion since the fucking 80s. Since it's like they started saying, hey, you can't use the word retarded.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I mean, and
it's
that's
just something I personally don't agree with. It's like, you can't call people retarded, but using the word retarded, I see nothing wrong with it.
okay. I'm not gonna say anything to that. But yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, what always gets me is like when people like start citing like cancel culture as like this thing of like censorship, and I'm like, you know what? Who invented cancel culture? Conservatives.
Conservative white people invented cancel culture.
You know all those book burnings of comic books, records, boycotts? That started with fucking white conservatives. So
yes,
go
it did.
Fuck yourselves about liberal cancel culture. We're just calling you out on your bullshit asshole list.
Although I will say this, thank you, cancel culture, for making things go fucking insane by spending your own fucking money to buy these albums and records and CDs and art pieces to burn them. You know what? Thank you for making this shit go platinum. In fact, to all you racist motherfuckers who went out and bought Gone with the Wind because they took it off of HBO Go, thank you for giving the studios $1 million more
that they can put towards projects for people of color.
Like Batman v Superman, Snyder Cut.
No, Justice League Snyder Cut.
Whatever, Justice League Snyder Cut. I gives no fucks about the Snyder Cut anymore.
I know you don't.
I never cared. And
I
I knew that for it to happen, they would have to spend at least $20 million more, and it turned out to be
30
or 30. Yeah. So, I'm quite pleased with myself. Because I feel like 𝕬𝖗𝖎𝖆 in the most like vigorous way. I feel so pathetic lately because all this shit that's been happening, I've seen it coming.
It's definitely been like this undercurrent of rage, and the thing is, it's like you only have so much patience.
And that's just it. It's the way that I feel is not just how I feel. It's an age thing. It's lots of people who have grown up looking at black culture, black history, and admiring it, adoring it, praising it. There are lots of people who love and support black culture and black history and black achievement. And I thank you. I thank you, each and every one of you lily white crackers. Thank you for your support and continue to just not be racist assholes. Like,
I mean, yeah, no, like,
just like, that's all I'm asking is just don't be a racist asshole. You can have whatever judgments and thoughts about you want about individuals, but as far as hating a whole culture or race,
well, not only that,
it's dead.
Like, what just gets me is just like it takes so much more energy to like be that hateful. You know, you're taking time out of your day to do that. Like, you know, you could just not really give a shit like everybody else and just, you know, live life. That's what equality and freedom means. I don't give a shit about the next person, typically. I don't want them to die either. But, you know, we all live in the same country together, so we just gotta, you know, get along, essentially.
Yes.
And, you know, and just always, like, I always highly recommend people, like, please, like, look up the history, look at everything. Like, the history has to be played in context. I always hate it when people say, oh, well, we can't talk about race and talk about the past now. I'm like, no, we have to talk about the past. The past is what brought us to our current present.
It's like, and then that's just it. And people want to forget the past. If you forget your past, you're doomed to repeat it. It's like, that's part of my issues with certain family members these days is that they want to forget their past shit. They want to forget all the fucked up shit they've done in the past. And that's like everything is all good without making apologies, without making amends. And you can't do that. It's like, you can't forget the past. You can't forget your own history. No matter how bloody and violent it is. No matter how uncomfortable it makes you feel. You cannot forget and deny your own history.
And the thing is, we don't want, like, I can't necessarily feel guilt in a sense of, like, that I'm forced to feel guilty. I do feel a bit of guilt, but at the same time, though, you have to work it and just basically make sure to point out the injustices that are out there. If you're white, you have a voice. People listen. And unfortunately, that's just the reality. So you gotta use it toward a more productive way. Yeah, is it irritating when people keep bringing up the racial injustices of the past? Yeah, it is, but at the same time, it's not you that we're directing it to. Like, I'm fine. I know no one's talking about me when they're saying that, like, white people are being racist. Because I know I'm not being racist. I'm not offended at it at all. Because I know they're not talking about me. They're talking about white people who are racist.
Yeah, and that's another issue a lot of white people have is, like, people will take generalizations as personal attacks.
Yeah.
And it's like, a generalization is not a personal attack on you. It's like, I've had white friends who have said, like, oh, you're making me feel like judged. I was like, I'm not judging you. I'm just judging people who look like you, who do evil shit, who stand by and look the other way when people are being brutalized by police.
But, I mean, at the same time, it's just like, I really just, you know, it's a lot of awkward and hard and difficult conversations at times. Me and Alex have definitely had them. You know, because there are some misunderstandings that I will have. And, you know, is it fun at times to go through and talk about the history? No, but I need to be informed. I need to make sure that, you know, what I'm doing is basically leading by example and just showing that, you know, it's not a minefield. It's not this big, you know, what to do all the time. You're just treating people like how you'd want to be treated. That's it. That's literally it.
Yeah.
That's the golden rule.
It's just be kind to people and just stop being assholes. And it's like,
and quit
I'm so sick of fucking.
And if you just see a
blind bigotry from police.
Well, not only just police. It's like, I'm sorry, if you affluent fucking white people see a black person just doing something, like, don't fucking get suspicious. They could just be doing a regular fucking thing. Okay?
Right.
Like, bird watching, delivering packages.
Swimming.
Yeah, it's like...
Swimming.
Having a party. It's like, Jesus Christ. Like, quit being fucking nosy. Just, like, you know, just go and walk away. That's literally all you have to do, okay? If no one's screaming for help, or if no one's yelling fire, or if, you know, if there isn't, like, a mass exodus of people leaving one area, I think it's safe to say that everything's going okay. Okay? Like, Jesus Christ, man. Did you see that they're doing a Karen Act?
Yeah.
I think it was, which one was it? San Francisco?
San Francisco is enacting the Karen Act.
It's spelled with a C.
Yeah, so, I'm just gonna paraphrase the Karen Act because I don't have it up in front of me. But basically, if you are of any race or ethnicity and you're calling the police for something frivolous, like, oh, there's a little black girl selling water, there's a black family having a cookout, there's a black person trying to swim at a public pool, guess what? You can go to jail. Yeah. You can do up to 60 days in jail. You can pay up to a $10,000 fine. So, you want to keep harassing black people for no fucking reason? Pay with your wallet. Pay with your freedom. Like we've been paying for our freedom. Instead of getting people drug counseling and treatment, they've been just locking people up. So, I love the Karen Act because it needs to spread like wildfire.
Yes, it does. I definitely think it would be... Because, like, I feel like George Floyd, like, would have been avoided if something like that had been in place.
Well, the thing is, George Floyd should have been avoided from the get-go because it was a non-violent criminal offense.
Yeah.
He was supposed to just get a ticket and a warning.
Yeah.
That's just it.
Well,
I don't know how the fuck it went so south with that shit.
It's just...
Other than police racism. And one of the things that I've been hearing from various associates, because I can't find shit online, but the fucking cop who had his neck, who killed him, had beef. They had a history with George Floyd.
Yeah.
They used to work together.
They used to work together, and the cop, Derek Chauvin, worked outside, so he was the outside bouncer. And George Floyd worked the inside crowd. And, like, I mean, yeah, I mean, who knows what the trial will try to show. I know they tried to go for a mistrial with that shit. And I'm like, dude, if they try to, like, not bring this to court at all, like, it's gonna get worse. And they have nothing but themselves to blame. You know?
No, exactly.
When shit went south with the George Floyd protests and there was, you know, looting and shit, I mean, granted, a lot of it was provoked by police, but at the same time, no, it's like, dude, if you guys are gonna antagonize, then you get antagonized back.
Well, that's the thing that really pissed me off about those protests, is that these police respond to a protest about police violence with police violence.
Yeah, I mean, they're just basically police rioting on people, essentially. And they've been, like, attacking, like, all the journalists.
Well, yeah, it's like, anytime they see reporters out there, the reporters who are just filming, reporting,
they get the shit beat out of them.
They get maced, they get tased, they get beat up.
A reporter lost her eye. I felt really bad for her.
Yeah, no, that was really fucked up, and I'm a little pissed still about that shit, because that's the type of shit that you expect to happen in, like, war reporting in foreign countries, not in a fucking America
or Russia.
Like,
that, I think, is definitely, like, Trump influenced, like, very Trump influenced. It just, they really went out of their way to attack reporters, you know?
Yeah, they I don't know, there's just so much shit going on in this country, and I would love to sit here all day and talk about it.
Yeah, probably.
But, one last thing before we wrap up.
And what's that?
𝕬𝖗𝖚 wants to play Storm in the MCU.
Who's she again?
She's a singer, but you probably know her best as the voice of Garnet on... Yeah.
Oh,
yes.
I know who she is. Okay.
Yes.
Yes. All yes. Yes. I want her to be Storm. Yes, 𝕬𝖚, you must be Storm. Please.
Yes.
Please be Storm.
You
would look so dope.
Yeah. So she wants to play Storm. Quote, I have definitely thrown it out there. One of my dreams has always been to play Storm. I don't know if she comes in Black Panther 2, but would be a dream to have her in it. I don't know where they are with that. A lot of women play Storm, and they've all done excellent jobs. And I would love to be in that line of fine artists.
Oh, dude, she'd do such a good Storm.
I think she'd be okay.
I second it.
I think she'd do a better accent than Halle Berry.
Yeah.
I love Halle Berry as Storm, but her accent was atrocious.
She had an accent. I thought she
tried an accent in one of them.
Oh, the first one.
Yeah, she tried the African accent.
Oh.
It was terrible.
I don't remember her speaking in an accent in the first one.
Yeah, she had a mild South African accent, I think.
I mean, I've always loved Storm. She's always been my favorite of the X-Men, just in general. She's a badass bitch. She knows how to get shit done. And I've always loved the character arc that she has and everything, so I think she would do a really good Storm, personally.
I mean, she's a fucking queen. I love her.
Oh, yes, she is. She's very, very, very... the thing is, like, I just rewatched the entire 5th season of Steven Universe, and I love Garnet. Garnet is my favorite. Garnet is what happens when two lesbians love each other so much, and it warms my heart. So.
I never got that from Garnet. I just thought of it as two people who love each other so much.
Well, I mean, same here, but like...
It's like, I don't know. I don't think of any of the gems in Steven Universe as lesbians because they're fucking gems.
Well, I mean, yes, they're very much coded, but like
I get yes, they're coded as female characters.
Well, I just remember like
But
I had so my my male cousin on my cousin John.
yeah.
Okay. I remember no, it wasn't him. I think it was one of my more conservative friends. So they said something akin to like, what will two white lesbians ever bring to a relationship or something like that. And I'm like, a giant, strong black woman, because Ruby and Sapphire or whatever. And so it's just like, so that's why I always kind of like associate, I'm like a giant, strong black woman, like, you know.
But yeah, that's...
I have a crush on Garnet. Garnet's
I'm
awesome.
sure you do. I know you do. I'm aware you do.
Garnet's awesome, okay? She's one of my favorite crystal drums, and I absolutely adore her. But anyway.
But, I don't know. So there's that Bondes giveaway down in the description.
Yes. Also, please subscribe to the Bondes Instagram. They took down our fucking Instagram, and we had like 20,000 followers. Now I have to rebuild again. So please subscribe. That'd be great. Anything else?
Yeah, and again, I'll have links to Jim's music in the description. There's a link to our Patreon. There'll be a link to the Bondes giveaway and Instagram. So yeah, links to everything down below. If this is your first time with us and you made it this far, thank you. Like, comment, subscribe, share, and
leave a comment. As well as like, please consider being a Patreon. We would really love to do a lot more and put a lot more money into our like setup that we have here.
into production in general.
Yeah, and we really want to like try new things and experiment. So if you have it in your heart, just any small amount. We also have a cup of coffee as well. If you just want to do a one-time payment, you know, just in general, like we would appreciate especially if you come and listen to us often.
All right. Say goodnight, Gracie.
What? You're being weird. All right, later, guys.